Hello, I'm Chris Heilmann. I'm a developer evangelist, which means I'm explaining technical things in a very simple fashion. And in the last few years, I've been an HTML5 expert, so I'm going to talk about that today.
Mm-hmm. Your talk's title is "What if everything is awesome?" It's a weird name. What was about your talk?
It was a bit of tongue-in-cheek. I hate the concept of awesome, because awesome should inspire awe. It should be something incredible, but we use that word so nilly-willy.
Yeah.
So in the British office, I always said we have to replace it with excellent or spiffing or something like that. And my talk was about the problem that we have, that we're trying to always go for the awesome as developers. We're not going for the let's deliver something. Mm-hmm. Let's do something useful that people want to have. We're always, the tech press has been pushing us into a corner of being rock star developers, and we're starting to act like them, and that's something that I think is rather worrying. We should be just thinking about delivering a service to our users, mm-hmm. rather than trying to impress each other with cooler and cooler things delivered every week. Mm-hmm. And the other side of that equation is also that a lot of the things that we have is already done, is perfect to use, but we're not looking at them because we're chasing the awesome. Mm-hmm. So I showed a few tools that are available right now for usage that actually really give you a lot of good results when you use them, but people never know about them because they're not awesome. Yeah. So that was the main thing that I wanted to get around with that talk.
Talking about that, what advice would you give to developers in order to help them to focus on users instead of awesome tools or awesome technologies?
I think it's being diverse in your outreach. You have to understand that your end users are not you. Far too many interfaces are very technical, are very overloaded with functionality that nobody needs. Feature creep, as we call it in the developer scene. You put more features in to make it better. Some phones have that, oh, that phone is waterproof and it has these 12,000 cameras, and when it takes you too long to actually use a product because there's too many features, then people will not use it. Also, look at statistics, look at surveys. There's the Vision Mobile survey, for example, which I use the data of a lot, that showed us that in the app space, if you build apps, women outspend men in every single market. And yet, almost every single app is very masculine. It's very oh, cool, technical, oh, cool stuff. So make your things warmer, make them more human, make them more inviting, and you will have more users. And especially test with people. Mm-hmm. Test not with your friends, but test with people that you don't expect. I used to work as a radio journalist, and the biggest job that people told me, if you can pick up the phone and explain what you're doing to your mother on the phone and she knows what's going on, then you've written something good. And the same goes with apps and with software. If people can use it without realizing it, that they used it, then you reached nirvana in terms of user interface. The best UX is invisible. People don't realize that they're doing something with it. So instead of just saying which technologies do I use with my tool, what tool do I want to build? What app do I want to build? And what should people get out of it? And then make it as easy as possible. One big thing I pointed out is offline functionality. So many people build apps that you pay a lot of money for. Well, you pay money for, you download them, you install them, and then the first time you're offline, you open the app and it doesn't do anything. If your application does not work offline, you don't have an application. Same with websites. Make them work offline, make them usable when people are not connected, because connectivity is always dropping. Mm-hmm. So make sure that this is the next gap I think we should really, really be concentrating on, because if it works offline, and then I'm effective. I can write my notes, I can send them off when I go online, but if I need to be online to write my notes, then we failed as software developers.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And I've been thinking about this question. You may be not, you may disagree, I don't know. I'm going to throw it. And my question is, now that HTML5 standard is over, what other things have to come from the web?
The HTML5 standard is not over, it's now finally ratified. The idea of a standard is that you can build software that can be used in other standardized software. So the problem that HTML5 had was that it was in an experimental state for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a W3C, World Wide Web Consortium standard. Now that it is a World Wide Web Consortium standard, people like insurance companies, people like banks can fully use it. Before that they couldn't because it was not finished software, it was not safe software to use. So that's where it now becomes very interesting, because now we can actually build the tools with HTML5 that we weren't allowed to build before. So it's far from finished, and it's also in the what working group rather than W3C. It's a living standard, meaning it gets extended the whole time. The process of the W3C to ratify something into an official standard by them takes a longer time. So it basically, it hardens and it tests, it makes sure that this is a standard that can be applicable, that is also used in different browsers. So the ongoing innovation in HTML5 is happening in the what working group, and the ongoing ratification is happening in the W3C. A lot of the standards by the W3C that will go into the HTML5 space are already in the making right now. These are all the APIs for device access. Like we have things like accelerometer, we have things like camera access, but we don't have a standardized NFC, standardized USB, standardized whatever comes in wearables right now. So all the things that are available in Android and iOS are sooner or later coming to the web in HTML5 as well. So this is where this standard is going, and this is where it's getting extended. And the work that people like Mozilla, Samsung, Sony, Google, Microsoft are doing will get into these standards after a while. It's not like that you say, okay, we have HTML5 done now, we need something new again. This is exactly the awesome problem. Like now we have HTML5 in a format where we can use it in every environment. And before that it wasn't safe to use yet, or it wasn't ratified to use yet in an environment that is, for example, a government website. That needs certifications. Yeah. Now we have that in HTML5. So if anything, HTML5 is now at a new start where we can actually build things that we haven't thought of before in environments that are very, very needed, because nobody likes to fill out their taxes. But building a beautiful interface to fill out your taxes is now possible because we have access to the other functionalities.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so many thanks for this time. And we're hoping to see you soon. When are you where are you going right now? I mean, next talk?
I'm flying back tomorrow to England for a day, and then I'm going to be at Spotify to give a talk about at a diversity conference about women in IT.
Cool, at Stockholm, right?
Yeah.
Okay. See you there. Thank you.
Thank you.